Werewolves! This video is kind of like another video to my mini-series about mental illnesses / mental disorders and the stigma around them. So in these videos, I give real facts and real information about what the mental disorder or mental illness is, because I know a lot of people will look on social media and they will figure out like the information about the mental disorder, and most of the information is not credible. It's false information, and people will believe that mental illness or mental disorder is what they say, because I know a lot of false information can go around these days, and people will take a mental disorder or a mental illness and say, oh, it's this, and it's really not. So in these videos, I take a common mental disorder and I talk about what the symptoms are, how many people it affects globally, what people think the mental disorder is versus what it actually is. So I give you facts. Before I start off this video, I just wanted to say that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm none of that. I have looked and researched for this video. I have looked at credible sites from actual people who study mental disorders and mental illnesses. So these are credible, and all of these sources will be linked down below if you want to go read them for yourself. I want to tell you guys that I have done 3 videos in the past on some mental disorders. The videos that I have done before, I've done one on anxiety, one on depression, and another one on bipolar disorder. And I will link those videos down below in the description as well if you want to go watch those. I did those ones previously. So the mental disorder we're going to talk about today is OCD. OCD is also known as obsessive compulsive disorder. So you might be wondering, what is OCD? OCD features a pattern of unwanted thoughts and fears, obsessions, that leads you to do repetitive behavior, compulsions. These obsessions and compulsions interfere with daily activities and cause significant distress. You may try to ignore or stop your obsessions, but that only increases your distress and anxiety. Ultimately, you feel driven to perform compulsive acts to try to ease your stress. Despite efforts to ignore or get rid of bothersome thoughts or urges, they keep coming back. This leads to more ritualistic behavior, the vicious cycle of OCD. So you might be wondering, how many people in the world suffer from OCD? OCD affects 2.2 million adults, which is a lot of people in this world. Now we're going to go into, what do people think OCD is? So if you go up to somebody and you ask them what they think OCD is, a lot of people think OCD is just cleanness, being organized, just cleaning all the time, scared of germs. So a lot of people will describe it as like a man or a woman wearing the yellow rubber gloves and having like a sponge in their hand and like constantly scrubbing down the house, like going over it like 3 or 4 times. But that is not what OCD is exactly. Yes, it is cleanness, but there's also another side to OCD. There is one that is cleanliness, and there's another one that is for germs. So there's one that's like cleanliness, and there's one for like dirtiness. So not every OCD person is like scared of germs. There's some that will pick up like dirty items. There's some that will constantly collect like junk and stuff like that, and like dirty items and stuff like that. So it's not always about cleanliness, because there's 2 sides to OCD. There's cleanliness, and then there's a dirty side or like kind of messy side of it. So now you might be wondering, what causes OCD? There is 3 main causes in OCD. One is biology. OCD may have a result of changes in your body's own natural chemistry or brain functions. The second one is genetics. OCD may have a genetic component, but specific genes have yet to be identified. Then the third one is learning. Obsessive fears and compulsive behavior can be learned from watching family members, or gradually learned over time. So kind of the last one kind of means that a person can learn obsessive fears and compulsive behavior from watching a family member doing certain stuff. So like if a person is washing their hands a lot, a family member can start like washing their hands a lot too. So they're kind of like copying them kind of. So yeah, or they kind of learn it over time from like watching somebody do that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the symptoms of OCD, treatments of OCD, and how to help somebody with OCD. The first thing we're going to talk about is the symptoms of OCD. There's actually two categories for the symptoms of OCD. There's one for obsessions and one for compulsions. So the first one we're going to talk about is the obsessions. Before I get into this, I'm just going to tell you guys that this is not all of these symptoms. These are just a few of them. So there's a lot of other symptoms out there. And just because you don't have like all of the symptoms doesn't mean you don't have OCD. So yep, let's get into what the obsession symptoms are. Obsessions are repeated thoughts, urges, or mental images that cause anxiety. Common symptoms include aggressive thoughts toward others or self, having things symmetrical or in perfect order, fear of germs or contamination, fear of being contaminated by touching objects others have touched. So kind of that means like if you touch a door and then a person, like a doorknob, and then a person who has OCD touches the doorknob, they could have like a fear of the contamination. So some people can also like take a wipe and they'll wipe off the door and then they'll go in. So, yep. Okay, so now we're going to get into the compulsive or compulsions symptoms. Compulsions are repetitive behaviors that a person with OCD feels the urge to do in response to an obsessive thought. Common compulsions include excessive cleaning and or hand washing, ordering or arranging things in a particular way, precise way, repeatedly checking on things such as repeatedly checking to see if a door is locked or that the oven is off, compulsive counting is another one. And now we're going to go into the treatments of OCD. That was all of the symptoms. Now we're going to go into the treatments of OCD. Okay, so there is two treatments for OCD. One is psychotherapy and the other one is medication. So we're going to go into what psychotherapy is. Psychotherapy, a cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT, a type of psychotherapy, is effective for many people with OCD. Exposure and response prevention, ERP, a component of CBT therapy, involves gradually exposing you to a feared object or obsession such as dirt and having you learn ways to resist the urge to do your compulsive rituals. ERP takes effort and practice, but you may enjoy a better quality of life once you learn to manage your obsessions and compulsions. So that is one of the treatments of OCD. So the second treatment of OCD can be medicines. Medicines can help control the obsessions and compulsions of OCD. Most commonly, antidepressants are tried first. So they try antidepressants before they try any other medicine. So they've got one that's called anaphranol, which is for adults and children 10 years and older. They've got another one that is called Palexil. I probably said that wrong, but it's for adults only. And then there is another one that is called Zoloft, and Zoloft is for adults and children 6 years and older. Now we're going to go into how to help somebody with OCD. There is a few ways I took out about 4 ways to help somebody with OCD, and these are the 4 ways. So the first one is encourage the person to talk about the disorder so that you can learn how it affects them and how you can be more supportive. But do not engage in discussions about the logic of OCD, as most people with OCD know their obsessions and compulsions as excessive and irrational. So what that means is talk about the disorder with them, but don't ask them like the logic of OCD, because a lot of people either they do not know the answer to it, or they just know that their impulsions and obsessions are irrational and excessive, and they don't really want to talk about that. So all you have to do is kind of like tell them like, how can I help you with this? Is there a way that I can help you? Please tell me a bit more about OCD so I can be able to help you in some way. So that is another thing that you can ask a person. Okay, so the second one is encourage the person to seek professional help. OCD is generally not a condition that will go away without treatment. You can assist in localing an experienced therapist and offer to be involved in their treatment program. If the OCD has involved you or other family or people extensively in rituals and avoidance behavior, you will need to know the best ways to modify your involvement so that the treatment can be as effective as possible. So what this means is that you're going to want to encourage the person with OCD to try to get some help, because as it says, OCD is not a treatment that will just go away on its own. The person does need to go to a therapist and talk about their OCD. And also in other ways, you can kind of like help the person go to their therapy sessions more often. You can take them, you can try to encourage them to go, because sometimes people will avoid to go to therapy or will avoid to go to a therapist for OCD, but you can try at least to get a person to go to a therapist and talk to them about talk about their OCD and try to figure out what would be best to help them, because a lot of people will go to therapists and the therapist will give them medication that will help them, or they will give them like different medications and different things to try to help them. So yeah. The next one is acknowledging improvements, however small, and encourage the person to reward themselves for progress. So what this means is as the person improves in their treatment, you can kind of encourage them in small ways. You can acknowledge their improvement. You can say, oh, great job, and all that stuff. And then you can encourage the person to reward themselves for what they did good. So yep, and then there's a last one. The last one is try to be patient and maintain a non-judgment attitude. This will support the person to focus their efforts on recovery rather than dealing with anger and resentment. So what this means is you're going to have to try to be patient with the person as they are trying to focus on their efforts to recovery. So you're going to have to be very, very patient with these people. You're going to have to try to maintain a non-judgment attitude, because if you start judging these people for how slow their recovery is, or that they're not recovering fast enough or something, then that's going to make them angry and it's going to make them like resent you, and they're not going to want to continue the treatment, or they're not going to want to be around you for you doing that. So just try to be patient with the person that has OCD and while they're in recovery. So yeah, that is all for this video of what is OCD. I hope this helped you guys. I hope this can help somebody who either has a family member, a friend, or they're suffering from OCD themselves. I hope this video can help you. If you do think that you are suffering from OCD, please tell an adult. I know some adults out there will not believe that you have it, but please try to either get a trusted adult or guardian that you can tell so they can get you some help, or if you think that you're struggling with any other mental disorder, please try to find a trusted guardian that can hopefully get you help for it, because I know there's a lot of parents out there that do not believe, like, oh, my child does not have this or my child doesn't have that, but people in the world do suffer from different mental disorders, and it's just a part of life, and sadly that's what happens. But I just wanted to make videos like this so that I can help people out there, and also I'm a very big advocate for mental disorders and mental illnesses and mental health and all of that stuff. So I have done videos in the past, as I said. I've done one on anxiety, one on depression, and one on bipolar disorder, and now I'm doing one on OCD. I'm going to be trying to do more of these videos. I'm sorry that I haven't done one in a while. I said that I was going to do these videos when I am in a very good mental state, because I don't want to just, do one when I'm in a horrible mental state, because that's going to take a very big toll on my mental health, and I don't want to have to talk about a mental disorder if I'm not in a mentally stable place, and I'm in a mentally stable place now, so I can definitely talk about these. I'm definitely going to try to do more of these videos in the future. If you guys have any other mental disorders that you guys want me to talk about, please put those in the comment section below, and I will try to do them. I do have a list of the most common ones that I'm going to be doing, and then I'm going to be doing other ones. I know there's some rare mental disorders out there. I don't know if I'll try to cover those. Maybe I'll try to cover those one day. I'm just trying to do the ones that are the most common, because those are the ones that people mostly know about and are trying to figure out. But again, I'm just going to say, if you have anybody that's suffering from like OCD or any mental disorder, please watch this video and also do your own research. I'm going to, as I said, put some credible sources down below that I used to make this video and that I used to research on. So I'm going to leave those links, those credible links, down in the description below. You guys can read through them. You can see if there's any other way that you can help somebody, because as I said, I didn't say all of the symptoms in this video because there is way too many to list, and also I did not say all of the treatments, or at least all of the ways to help somebody, not the treatments, all the ways to help somebody. So there's other ways to help people down in the description below in one of those links, because there is a lot of ways to help people with OCD, and if I had to explain them all, we would be here and it'd be an hour-long video. So I don't want to have to keep you guys for an hour for that type of video, but I hope that you guys enjoy this video. I hope it helps somebody. I hope it helps anyone out there. I hope it does. Please let me know if it helped you in the comment section below, and yeah, I guess I will see you guys in the next mental disorder video, or I will see you guys in the next video. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe into the Werewolf Pack, and I will see you werewolves in the next video. Stay strong, werewolves. Arrgh!